Welcome to the podcast. God bless y'all. Hope you're having a great day in Jesus' name. So I've been thinking about zombies lately. And when I was a kid, actually what got me into YouTube when I was a kid was zombies. Like zombie kits, zombie survival kits, like weapons. And like I was like 10 years old and making videos, posting it on YouTube. This was back when you were able to put a background on your YouTube channel. This was when PewDiePie only had like 9 videos on his channel. This is when I was making these videos. I was like 10 or maybe a little bit older. And I just want to go and check out some of these videos I used to watch. These guys that would set up like these zombie dummies, and they would use like everyday objects to try to kill the zombie and see if it would work. Like if you were just chilling in your room and a zombie happened to come in, like would you be able to use like your Xbox to kill the zombie? And so that's what we're going to be watching today. I found one where it was, can you kill a zombie with an Xbox? And I want to check it out. Let me see here. And it's actually featuring Boogie998, which I don't know what happened to that guy. But I remember he was very, very, very popular. All right. I think we're ready. Get my headphones on.
This Xbox, it's broken, but it's signed by Boogie, myself, Charles, and you can get this. I'll tell you how at the end of this video, so watch the whole thing.
Let me just skip to the part. And hopefully YouTube doesn't take this video down. It's fake blood. Maybe that's why they kind of had to stop, because I know like blood and stuff got really strict on YouTube. But this is fake blood. YouTube, it's paint, just like the paint on that fence. But that's a zombie dummy. Look at that thing. They made it like pretty epic. Right now you'll see, I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want this video to get taken down, but it's 100% anatomically accurate skull analog. 99% the hardness and density of a real zombie human skull. That's awesome. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's Boogie998. Oh, 2998. Wait, 2988.
That's right, survivors. You asked for it, and we're here to deliver. The Xbox 360. Can it kill a zombie? Well, I didn't feel right testing this out myself. We really need an expert. So we thought we'd call on the guy that is known for destroying some Xboxes, a real expert when it comes to this weapon, Francis, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, Chuck?
Hey.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Francis. How are you?
Who's this?
I'm going to skip to the part. But when I was a kid, I remember I used to use the Bible verse like, oh, the dead will be risen from their grave. I remember I used to think that meant zombies would be real, but I mean, who knows? Maybe during the trials and tribulation. Nah, I'm just making stuff up. I'm just having fun. But no, zombies aren't real. The Bible doesn't talk anything about zombies. All right, look, here it is. Let's check it out. Wait, let's go a little bit back. See the setup.
Designers for SimCity.
Appreciate it.
Whoa.
Sons of bitches! That sounds pretty good.
Did it?
Yeah.
What did we do? Well, not much. Let's try to hit it on the top of the head.
Okay.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Well, let's see what we got here. Not much. Ripped the skin a tiny bit, but we're gonna need a few more hits to get through this skull.
Oh, I'm gonna kill this son of a bitch.
All right, let's go crazy. Yeah?
Yeah!
This is for not being able to log into the server. This is for every sim going to just a random house. This is for releasing an incomplete, crappy game!
Oh my goodness. Realistically though, if that was like in the hands of someone that's like insanely strong, or not even insanely strong, but like pretty strong, they could probably do some good damage. Look at that, it actually did penetrate.
Right in front of the...
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly like I remember. Let's see if I can find a better one. Oh, let's check out this one.
Crazy, outlandish things happen, so we decided to make this video to share a few of those with you. Just a few crazy, freaking, mind-blowing things that have happened to us. Enjoy.
Zombie go boom. Kick undead ass.
Oh.
Holy shit!
That's actually insane. That's actually insane. I don't know if I could show that. That's crazy. I was watching this as a kid.
Yeah. How the hell did that happen?
Wait, what did he do? A pencil? Through the temple.
Holy shit.
This guy's practically John Wick.
Yeah. How the hell did that happen? Alright. I broke the pencil, but...
A weak spot in the skull.
I don't think so. Yeah. Through the temple, this pencil managed to do about 3 inches of penetration. I'm gonna try it again just to make sure that's not a fluke.
Wow, that gave me a headache. That's crazy. That's actually insane. A rake. Oh my goodness.
Look at that. And I hit it a little bit to the left.
That looks crazy.
I did not expect that to happen.
No, that's amazing.
I'm Charles Foltz, and this is the SOG Tactical Tomahawk. Whoa.
Holy crap.
I did not expect that to
Oh
happen.
my
Oh,
gosh.
that's amazing. We could have been severely injured. This is not funny.
It's kind of...
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Oh my god.
Well...
Oh my god.
Well...
Oh no, that's bad. No one was hurt though. I mean, thank God.
This GoPro, I had it right here when it exploded, and it still worked a lot.
So what happened here? Oh, okay. That is actually pretty cool. Let's see a full screen. Nice. That is insane. So they just put a bunch of fireworks inside of the zombie. Let's see, what else? Oh, a lawnmower? I gotta see that.
This
Advertisements.
This is the same.
Yeah, this one's a lawnmower. That's why you don't stick your head under a lawnmower. That's crazy. I mean, what zombie's gonna lay down? Well, you never know. Maybe after, like, you gave it a good couple swings and it fell down, and you have a lawnmower nearby. Maybe you could do that. Alright, let's check out a few more. Nice. Oh, yeah. You know what he's gonna do with that. Oh, I thought he was gonna stab him with it.
God damn it!
Oh.
You okay, Nate?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Holy crap, that could have been terrible.
Did I tell you? What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? I told you it's
No
gonna
way.
get glass on you.
Crazy Russian hacker. What? Crazy Russian hacker was there. I mean, he says, safety is his #1 priority.
Okay. You get caught?
I mean, as far as I know, I'm okay.
Oh
Did you
my
feel
gosh.
glass? There's glass.
This
all-
is legendary. I'm so glad I decided to check these out. Okay, that might be too gruesome. That's actually crazy, though. Oh, let's check that out.
Thumbnail.
This is what I used to watch as a kid. And then I used to, like, make videos. How long ago was this? 9 years ago. When was YouTube founded? Let me check. When was YouTube created? 2005. So 2005. When did PewDiePie get into YouTube? Because I think that was too early. I don't think I was watching YouTube then. So 2010. Yeah, I was like 10 years old. Because that's when PewDiePie started his channel in 2010. And 2009. And I remember I used to be able to watch all his videos. Like, I would rewatch them, all of his videos, as a kid. And I would watch these guys. That was pretty awesome. Hold on, I need to go to the restroom. I'll be right back. There's also this that I've been wanting to watch. It's Bear Grylls. So, Bear Grylls, I've talked about him before. He used to be in the SAS, I'm not mistaken. It's like the British Special Forces, I think. And well, he got injured. I think he was flying into Africa during one of his during his time in the military, and then he broke his back somehow. I don't remember the specifics, but after that, 1 year exactly after that, he climbed Mount Everest. The doctors told him he was about a hairline inch from never being able to walk again. And then a year after his injury, he was on the top of Mount Everest. And he said that like 4 people died on that journey. So this guy is insane. And he says he gets all his strength comes from his faith in Jesus Christ. So that's why I like bringing him up, because he is a really good example of a type of person that a Christian man should aim to be like. Of course, everybody has their flaws, but to really humble yourself before God and be able to understand that through God you can do a lot. I mean, your strength comes from the creator of heaven and earth. That's what it says in the Bible. So you can do a lot when you put your faith in God and you realize that you can get strength from it, from the Holy Spirit and having a connection with Jesus Christ. And so that's what I was going to get into today as well. We're going to watch, he likes to do these adventures, right, where he goes out into the wild and he'll try to survive. That's where his show Man vs. Wild came from, where he went out. You know, he teaches you how to survive just using what's around you. And now in this, he's going through the journey of Jesus Christ, where he lived. He's going to be like skydiving into the land, all this stuff. So I thought we'd check it out and do a little watch party of his journey through Jesus's land, but in Bear Grylls style, which is like, you know, doing these cool outdoor activities and adventures. It's pretty awesome. So let's check it out.
I'm Bear Grylls, and I've been to the highest point on the planet, and I'm now here at the Dead Sea, at the lowest point in the entire world. Get ready for the ultimate adventure. I'm in Israel, following the footsteps of a man who changed the entire world forever. The refugee, the renegade, and the redeemer. Jesus of Nazareth.
Yeah, and that's the name of the series. So we'll get into that and check it out. Okay, I'm just making sure I could switch between scenes. Nice.
I've wanted to take this adventure my entire life. Israel is like no other place in the world. Small on the map, but massively significant to human history. It's a land of conflict, contrasts, and cultures. The great intersection between the East and the West. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. It's a sacred land. A land of miracles and ancient wonders. so much of my life has been built around adventure. You know, going to incredible and often wild places. But I've never been on a journey like this. Today I'm following in the footsteps of a man who changed history.
So I know right now he's driving, but I do believe he's gonna be skydiving into the Holy Land. I mean, that's the name of the title. So let's check it out.
Magazine called him the most influential man that has ever lived, Jesus of Nazareth. And you know, I'm not very religious in the traditional sense of the word. I definitely have doubts, definitely have struggles. But to me, there's something so appealing, so intriguing about this person. He was a refugee. He was a renegade, you know, he was a wild one, no doubt. All the rough people seem to love him, and yet the ruling elite struggled so much with it. What was it that was so unique, so special about him? And how did this guy effectively change the world forever?
So I like that he says that he's not religious, but that he's very interested in Jesus. And that's how it should be. Religion has been used for a lot of bad things. And that's turned away a lot of people from the faith. When in reality, it's just about a relationship with Jesus Christ, reading the Bible for yourself, and having a connection, a relationship with Jesus Christ. So he's right. We don't have to be religious in the traditional sense, but it's all about following Jesus Christ and his teachings.
So I've come here to where the story starts in Israel because I want answers. The best adventures in life take us far outside of our comfort zone. I like that. This is definitely going to be challenging physically, but more importantly, it's going to be a spiritual journey. But it's driven by an intrigue, a desire to know more, to find out about the real guy, away from the image that so many of us grew up with of Jesus as this kind of like very formal figure. I want to get to know the real man. This is going to be an adventure for me like no other.
That's Alpha November, wind 190 degrees 10 knots, runway 1.
I don't know if you'd ever go skydiving, but I might. That's honestly something I would think about doing if I was with someone that I know for a fact they know what they're doing. Not just go to like a random skydiving place and jump out of a plane with someone I don't know. I would have to know that they're very experienced, but I'm curious if you would go skydiving, and let me know.
15, clear for takeoff. That's Alpha November, 2 minutes, report jump goes away, and good luck.
Below me is the Holy Land. Nowadays it's called Israel, and a lot of it is wild. Huge desert mountains, fertile valleys, and then desolate salt lakes. It's home to the lowest place on earth as well, the Dead Sea. It's considered a holy place for 3 of the world's major religions, and is home to a man who changed the course of history. He was a humble, poor builder and carpenter, a man called Jesus of Nazareth.
Here with the full jump away, and we're ready.
Okay, we're ready to go. I've been told that the best experiences in life first of all require a leap of faith. Okay, let's do this.
Nice. That's awesome.
Okay, stop. Let's take it back from the top. Because it's occurred to me that not everyone knows the origin story of Jesus. There's an evil king, a band of shepherds, angels, mystics, a virgin birth is a pretty wild tale, and it all starts with a woman named Mary. You might recognize her immaculate image from statues and stained glass windows from the last 2,000 years. But in reality, Mary was a regular teenage girl, pregnant, unmarried, and probably very afraid. She's visited by an angel who tells her she's going to have a baby. And not just any baby, the Son of God, which was extra
Imagine being told that you're gonna have a baby that's the Son of God. That's amazing. All right, let's check out the jump.
Animals, some local shepherds, and later on, some... Now, let's really dive in.
So that's the Holy Land. Look at that. Imagine the feeling.
Okay, on the ground. Motorbike's there. Time to get this adventure going.
That's awesome. I actually have that same scarf. I think it's called a shamag, I'm not mistaken. That's what my friends told me in high school. But I have that same scarf thing that he has. It's pretty cool. It actually does help with the heat. Alright, I'm going to take another little break. I'm going to get some more coffee and I'll be right back. Got some more coffee. Let's check this out.
Today I'm going to explore the events surrounding Jesus' mysterious birth 2,000 years ago. I'll navigate the trail of some of his very first seekers, the Magi from the East. As the story goes, they followed a star through these very deserts. My journey will take me from the easternmost part of Israel through the unforgiving land known as the Negev. I'll survive in the wilderness, meet with a modern-day shepherd, and do my best to uncover what life was really like when Jesus was born.
Look how beautiful that is. That's just absolutely amazing. But it's hot. It's hot. It's probably really hot there. But it's just absolutely beautiful. There are just parts of the world that just blow my mind. We see them all the time in pictures and stuff, but we don't have any idea of how it actually is until you're there.
There's definitely a sense initially just arriving here that actually, you know, this wouldn't have been very different 2,000 years ago. It really wouldn't. You know, it's hot, it's barren, it's dusty, it's unforgiving, but at the same time it's beautiful. And I kind of get a feeling that Israel's going to be surprising at every turn. You know, the life of Jesus is going to be surprising at every turn. What we expect from shepherds or from magi, wise men. And I like that because the greatest adventures, you never know what's ahead.
The Negev might look like the middle of nowhere, but this rocky desert is a setting to many epic stories in history and the Bible. When the Israelites escaped slavery in Egypt, they may have hiked through this very spot. Bethlehem and Jerusalem lie to the north, and just a short trek to the south, the legendary fortress of Masada, built by King Herod the Great, or as the Romans called him.
Look at that. That is amazing.
The King of the Jews. This incredible fortress stretches across 3 levels of a cliff overlooking the Dead Sea. From this vantage point, Herod's armies could spot any approaching enemy, maybe even the Magi themselves. Every epic story has its villain, and in the Christmas story, no one looms larger than King Herod. Historians say he was incredibly powerful and paranoid.
I don't know, to me, for some reason, this looks like probably the best place you could be for a zombie apocalypse or something. You would definitely survive up there. Unless you run out of food. I feel like food and water would be really hard to find here.
Epic story has its villain, and in the Christmas story, no one looms larger than King Herod. Historians say he was incredibly powerful and paranoid. So when the Magi asked him about a newborn king of the Jews, Herod hatched a plan to eliminate the infant Jesus. Amazing, even as a humble baby, this Jesus was already a threat to the biggest world powers. So now, I'm heading into the desert to find out more about this land that so many call holy. If my coordinates are right, I'm about to meet a shepherd who can tell me a little about the harsh realities of life as a desert traveler.
Hello, hello.
Hey, you must be Dindan.
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure. Hey.
So we got our coordinates
yeah,
right.
just fine.
Yeah, what a place.
The most beautiful place on earth, I think, yeah.
I meet a shepherd in the desert.
Yeah.
With his camel.
Yeah. The best animal to walk in the desert is camel, I mean.
Ultimate desert survivors, really, eh?
Yeah, they're survivors.
And I guess, I mean, you look around at this, just riding through here it was like lunar landscape. You know, it's like crazy.
It's beautiful, and it's the only place in Israel that it's stayed thousands of years. It's exactly the same. But
yeah, some places where they have camels, they eat the hump, and it's like full of like watery fat. It's actually crazy looking.
It's hot and unforgiving as well.
yeah, yeah, you cannot make mistakes here.
Yeah, that's true. That is
It's real desert, I mean.
And I guess people using camels to travel for thousands of years.
Thousands of years, for sure.
And it's interesting because camels orientate themselves when they're resting, don't they? Away from the sun.
Especially if there is a strong wind, you can see all of them with the backside to the wind. Good instinct for sure.
Throughout history, virtually every depiction of the Magi shows them wandering on the backs of camels. And for good reason. Camels are like the original desert SUV. They can travel 20 miles in a day, carrying up to 200 pounds. They can even go 8 days without water. A big deal if you're trekking through the Negev.
200 pounds. Yeah, most of America would not be able to ride a camel. Most of America would kill these camels. They can only carry 200 pounds.
Camel's body is specially designed to conserve moisture too. Their urine and dung are super concentrated, and they can even raise their body temperature by 6 degrees before sweating. Of course, we can't know for sure if the Magi used camels, but 2,000 years ago, a camel would be the best bet for a brutal trek like this one.
I have a small camp here, but we can walk from here.
Yeah, perfect. Let's do it.
Okay. This land is very special for my nation, for my family. No place in earth like that.
Wow. And it's difficult to survive here, yeah?
That's just beautiful.
It's the most difficult to survive, yeah.
So even like travelers and traders through the desert, they would need a guide.
For sure. If no, it's too tough here. If you don't know the place, where to hide, where to get water, you have no chance in the desert. Yeah, I mean, 2 days you die.
So for like the original Magi, you know, the astrologers from the east who came, traveled to Bethlehem following the star.
Following the stars.
What would life be like for them?
In the beginning of the way, easy, but we come here, it's tough. They take a guide, they go up, they're in Bethlehem.
Yeah. And you think of those early desert nomad travelers. They were made of something special. But we get this image of the Magi, these wise men, as like, from the Nativity, all, you know, like kings. But the reality is that they were travelers, and they were astrologers, and they were mystics.
And while they only get a brief mention in the Bible, they leave a big impression.
That's awesome.
As the Christmas story goes,
So mystical.
the Magi came from the east to bring gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. According to Bible experts, if the Magi were from the east, That probably means they traveled from ancient Persia or modern-day Iran. That's more than 900 miles or 1,400 kilometers to meet Jesus in Bethlehem, a long way for a baby.
Wow.
Some historians believe that Magi in the ancient Middle East were kingmakers who studied the movement of stars and planets, trying to identify future rulers. So no wonder Herod freaked out when the Magi came to him looking for a newborn king. We may never know their epic story.
But what I do know is that they were brave. They're following a dream, they're following a star, they're following an ancient prophecy that probably people thought was just fantasy. And it's all because in here, something was drawing them, calling them. And that can be powerful. So that's your camp, Dun?
Yeah, this is my camp, this is my son.
Ah, nice.
His name is Eitam.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Eitam, yeah.
Everything you need for life here? Shade, food?
Shade, food, milk.
You don't have water, but you have milk.
Yeah, water down the river you can get water, but I'll try to milk here. You want also to milk here?
Yeah.
You can
Goat's milk is very, very nutritious.
You familiar with it?
Yeah. She might not be familiar with me, but...
No, it's okay, she's nice. She got
Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls has done this before
in the
in the wild.
I mean, goat milk is as good as it gets, eh?
Yeah.
I've seen Bear Grylls catch a wild goat and do this.
Well, Dun, you are faster than me at this.
Yeah, you
Look at that, how much you...
Yeah. Cheers.
Thank you.
It's delicious.
Thank you.
Milk. It's delicious milk.
Beautiful. Can I get a feeling that along this whole journey I'm going to meet many people like Dun that maybe surprise and defy one's expectations, and that's a good thing. Adventure's meant to be full of the unknown, and stepping into that, even if it's a little nerve-wracking to do, but that's life, and that's faith. This is great. I mean, to be honest, when I was riding in here, I was kind of like, I was getting tired just riding. It was hard. But somehow a little bit of milk, a little bit of shade, and companionship.
Yeah.
I mean, these are also good companions.
Great, yeah.
So what is a life like for a shepherd in the desert now, compared to maybe like 2,000 years ago?
In some kind, it didn't change. I mean, you have to look for food for the goat. You have to find water. The shepherd life, it's almost the same, actually.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You okay?
And this is dried goat?
Yeah, that my son prepared. It's a little bit work to eat it, but...
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, but he knows the job.
That's good. That's going to give you strong teeth as well. Yeah. So it seemed to be that the life of a shepherd was tough.
Tough, but if you like it, it's the best life, I mean.
Yeah, I guess they'd found a way to survive in this landscape and
for thousands of years, it didn't change.
What is the role of a shepherd? What is the shepherd doing? How do they protect their sheep?
In this day, no more leopards, but leopard was here till...
Leopards?
Leopards, yeah.
So 2,000 years ago, you would have had leopards here?
Yeah, from time to time, even cheetahs came here. But this time, only shelter, water, food, and be careful from poison snake, because there are poison snake here.
So I guess in Jesus' time, that's why you got to protect those sheep. You got to protect your herd.
Yeah.
You can't take your eye off it.
No, you have to sleep with them, walk with them. You don't leave them. Yeah.
That's insane.
And it seems that like sheep
fight animals
play
and
such
stuff.
a big part in Jewish culture and in the life of Israelites and shepherds and through Jesus' time.
Yeah, even before. It's part of the history of this region.
Yeah.
And Jesus compared always as a shepherd of the nation, yeah.
It's a close bond, isn't it? Between the land, the animals.
It was my dream to be a shepherd, to live with the nature. because all other parts of Israel changed a lot in the last 2,000 years. Here it stayed exactly the same.
We hear that the first people that ever saw the young Jesus, a baby Jesus,
was shepherds as well.
Were shepherds, because the Nativity often says it was a wise man, but actually it was a shepherd.
A shepherd, of course, yeah.
So people of the land.
Yeah, it was farmers and shepherds.
Yeah, I always understood
So
it
if you
was a
have a herd of,
shepherd.
like,
The
50
three
sheep,
wise men
you're
were
looking after
shepherds.
them. You get to know them really well.
Yeah, it's a close bond. I used to know every one of them.
And is there community between the other shepherds?
Yeah.
So what sort of people would the shepherds 2,000 years ago have been like in society?
Yeah, there was a little bit outsiders always, but not like today. That was much tougher. Life was tougher, but there was the perfect on the field, and there was a little bit outsider, it's true.
Sheep and shepherds, you find them everywhere in the Bible. Abraham, the great patriarch of this region, was a shepherd. King David grew up a shepherd. Later in life, Jesus even called himself the Good Shepherd. And yet shepherding is dirty, smelly work, especially back then. As I'm finding out, Jewish culture really values cleanliness, so it's likely that shepherds were outcasts, or at least overlooked,
I didn't know that.
underappreciated. I've also been told that in the Middle East, shepherds were often young girls of the family.
Whoa.
In fact, one of the reasons King David may have been so underestimated was that he had a girl's job.
Wow.
But this is what I love about the
That's
Jesus
cool.
origin story. It finds beauty in the common, everyday, and even the dirtiest parts of life.
That seems to be then reflective on so much of how the rest of Jesus' life plays out. Always defying expectations, doing the surprising, the unusual, reaching to everybody, those who often feel outside of normal life. And I think getting behind the religion, right, behind what we think of as Christianity, for me is exciting because often that kind of formal side of it I don't relate to. But the land and the people and the fun and the free side and the kind of that side I like. And I hope we're going to find more and more of that. I like, with the story of Jesus, learning for me that the first people to see the baby Jesus were regular, like not the super well educated. They were the people of the land.
People of the land, shepherds, the most simple people in the community. Yeah.
Speaking to Dundan about the sort of people the shepherds were, it was those that were outside of normal society. They were rougher. They lived off the land, and you know they wouldn't have had all the kind of niceties. And I like that because so often church, I think, can feel like you've got to be a certain way, you've got to be smart or religious. But actually, the ones that God revealed it to said, you've got to go to Bethlehem. Wasn't to these religious elite, it was to the wild ones, the shepherds. And it says that nowhere else in the Bible does so many angels all at the same time reveal themselves. It said a whole host of angels. You know, they're angelic appearances and other stories, but never a whole host. And it was like saved for this one moment for these guys, for the wild ones. If that's true, if that's real, I love it. Thank you for sharing some of this.
Thank you for visiting.
Amen to that.
Can I take a little bit of the meat for my travels?
Yeah.
No, just a little bit,
No, we have more.
Really?
Yeah.
Because this is gold dust in the desert.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
goat's
it's
meat.
full of energy.
And maybe like a little bit more from her teat, and then I'm happy.
Okay, no problem.
Well, it's definitely been a million miles an hour arriving in Israel and, you know, free fall straight to the desert, straight on the bikes, and actually just to then stop for a second in the desert and spend that time with Dundan was nice. It was like kind of slowing down, and you realize that sometimes you meet people and they're calm, they're instantly calm, and it's just good just to sit in that shade, drink some goat milk, have some dried goat meat, and talk about life. And so much of it, I said, you know, it's such a hard life, and it is undoubtedly a hard life as a shepherd now, undoubtedly a hard life as a shepherd 2,000 years ago. But he also said, It's easy life because it's like connection with the land. You're listening to the seasons and you're moving where the grazing is and you're looking after your sheep and you've got that connection and that community. And I don't know, I like that. That for me, I connect with that and it slows me down. Dun, you're a great man.
It was a pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of my country.
Much. Thank you. I appreciate it. You take care.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
My journey through the Holy Land has only just begun, and already it feels like the Bible stories I've heard my whole life are being rewritten. After trekking through the Negev and meeting Dun, I'm headed northwest in the direction of Bethlehem. I'll meet with a friend who knows a thing or two about the real Christmas story. But first I need to survive my way out of here and hitch a ride.
So we're starting from
years
like...
might have passed, but in terms of what it's like here, you know, I can't see another building, a road. Not a lot has changed. Hot, hard, harsh. Not for the faint-hearted.
We're starting from like Jesus' birth to his resurrection
Journeying
and everything.
through
That's
these lands
awesome.
is difficult today, but can you imagine what it would have been like for travelers thousands of years ago? It's hard to believe this brutal landscape contains so much of the
So
nativity
beautiful.
story. The Magi, the shepherds, even Mary and Joseph would have trekked through terrain just like this. If you wanted to make it to Bethlehem, first you had to survive. You've got dry summers, wet winters, and no matter the time of year, travelers would have met their match in this arid wilderness. Back then, there would have been lions, bears, leopards, scorpions, snakes, you name it. Not to mention the robbers who would target travelers along the ancient trade routes over 2,000 years ago.
That's some scary stuff.
And never imagined Jesus' birth would have been so full of danger.
Yeah, look, that's golden henbane. All of this bush. Nasty stuff. Yeah, you eat that, it will kill you. Even just touching it's gonna
Oh my
mess you
goodness.
up, make you sick. It's just another thing in this desert that's unforgiving and out to get you. Golden henbane looks nice, looks green, looks flowery. Do not go near that. They always say adventure happens when things start to go wrong. I hope not too many things go wrong. But I like the kind of element of the unknown. And I think faith is like that. It's like trying to describe eating ice cream or swimming. You know, it's hard to describe. You need to, when you're in it, then you feel it.
Amen.
And I feel for me this journey of discovery will be a little like this. And I'm excited for that. Yeah, it's Egyptian caper. See these little leaves, very distinct leaves. One of the few good guys that aren't going to kill you out in this desert. And hasn't got much nutritional value, but it's got salt and minerals. And out here in the desert, that's what you're losing fast. Along with fluids, you're losing those vital salts and minerals you need. Yeah, instantly taste that salt.
Nice.
But for the desert survivor, Egyptian caper can really help you.
Egyptian caper. That's cool. I would be
So
very
right
scared
now, the
doing that.
beating heat of the day. Got to cover up in this.
Uh-oh.
Just anything to cover the head, cooling, keep the breeze flowing between it.
Nice.
Got to be out of the heat of the sun.
Truly becoming a desert person. I would die out there instantly. 10 minutes, I would be dead. I'm just kidding. Nah, with Jesus, you can do anything.
One thing there's not a lot of in the desert at the moment is shade. It's going to take 5 minutes, get a little bit of shade, ration this water, and have a bit of Dun-Dun's jerky. This stuff.
Jerky. Goat jerky.
Actually needs a bit of water with it to soften it. And that goat jerky. Shepherd goat jerky. Hardcore. Not like the stuff you get in shops.
The chewing noises.
Yeah. They have strong jaws, those shepherds. Trust me.
The chewing noises.
Yeah, sun should start dipping in an hour or so. And then it'll get cooler. So much of desert travel. Pace yourself. You know, work out your time. Maybe moving for half an hour and then a few minute rest. Another half an hour. Go shade to shade. You can't find shade, make shade. Ration your water, have a plan. Try and stick to the plan. Move at night as much as you can. Really, you want to minimize your movement in the heat of the day like this. Yeah. Hard.
Insane. That's insane. So you're gonna walk 900 miles?
If the Magi did take this route, it makes sense that they traveled by the cool shade of night. Of course, we also know they were following a star, which acted like a GPS, guiding them to their destination. Which brings up another great mystery in this story. What exactly was this star? Well, I've discovered there are some wild theories. For example, in the year 5 BC, Chinese astronomers recorded the appearance of a broom star, or a comet. It appeared within their Ox constellation for more than 70 days. Certainly enough time for the Magi's journey. But stars weren't the only sign drawing people to Jesus. Ancient Jewish texts record over 300
the evidence
about the Messiah.
Nice.
Like the prophet Micah, who said the coming ruler would be born in Bethlehem. He wrote this over 700 years before Jesus' birth. The Jewish people had waited for centuries for the Messiah, and finally it seemed that all the stars were aligning.
I wonder if he's gonna travel the 900 miles. What is he doing?
When traveling through the desert, there's one thing you've got to find fast. A way out.
There we go.
There's a car.
Nice.
Come on.
Okay, we're gonna flag this guy down. See if he can give us a lift. Hey! Hey, can I get a lift?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, thank you.
And the camera crew is left behind. I always think about that whenever these videos end. Whenever his episode ends, they just leave the camera crew behind.
Bethlehem is a bustling town in the Middle East. The supposed birth site of Jesus is now a holy site.
Bethlehem.
But I
Cool.
want to know what it was really like. In Jesus' time, Bethlehem was a humble village full of farms and farmers, livestock everywhere. Sacrificial lambs were born and raised for their use in the temple in Jerusalem. And while it was once the home of King David, the famous shepherd turned ruler of Israel, Bethlehem was about as far as you can get from a royal palace. Even the name itself is common. They tell me Bethlehem in Hebrew means house of bread. In Arabic,
I love bread.
House of meat. Either way, this is a place of basic necessity and survival, and this is where Jesus was born. Where our story picks up, Mary and Joseph are traveling about 120 kilometers or 80 miles from Nazareth to the little town of Bethlehem.
In so many ways, this was a nightmare scenario for them. You know, you got Mary, who's pregnant outside of marriage. That would have been a scandal in her community. Joseph's told in a dream, stick with her, is part of the plan. Then all of the males have to go to their hometown to report for a Roman census. So they're on the move, they're trekking, hiking. She's heavily pregnant. And then when they reach Bethlehem, it is far from ideal.
I've come to a small kibbutz in northern Israel to meet my friend Suriel, a local guide and biblical expert.
Hey, Suriel.
Hello, Bear. Thank you for coming.
I'm here to find out what the nativity story was really like for those who lived it, animals and all.
Yeah, what a lovely donkey. Well, donkey, didn't they?
I love
traveled
animals.
On donkeys
They're
a lot?
awesome.
Well, not that much, of course. They had donkeys, but most people would just walk. You know, they would walk a lot. And we're talking about the birth of Jesus. We're talking about Mary in her 9th month. And they had to walk over 70, 80 miles all the way from Nazareth to Bethlehem. So I hope they did have a donkey.
Wow, that's a long way to walk.
It is.
8, 9 months pregnant, wow. So did they go to somewhere like, I don't know, like this, like a farm?
Yes, it will be something like a farm, you know, but it's a private house and not necessarily like that spot with the donkey. But you can see over there is a corner that it might be looking like that.
Well, like this one?
Yeah, maybe something like that.
With a ton of animals. Yeah, look, I guess this is where the animals are.
Donkeys, you know, and they will try to keep them as close as possible, both for safety reasons.
Yeah,
so they're saying this is what...
So they'd often live really close to the animals.
So they're saying this is like the type of environment Jesus was born in? That's what I'm getting from this.
Animals. Like how...
Yes, they did.
In buildings, but how would they live?
Yeah, they would have 1 floor or 2 stories high buildings, not that high, you know, most of them. Sometimes it would be a cave under their home, at the side of their home. Of course, it's not that you have 30 sheep there. It's not that. You'll have 2, 3. If you have many, they will probably be somewhere else. This is how they would live like back then.
So like a few animals because, A, you want to keep them close to you so that it gets stolen.
If you want to milk, you know, your goat, you don't want to go now half a mile every morning to do that. If you want to get eggs, whatever they had back then, you want it outside your, in a sense, your bedroom. You go there or your kitchen and so on. And for the safety of the animals themselves, remember that too.
Yeah. So why didn't, like Mary and Joseph, she's about to give birth, there's a place for the animals, but then maybe upstairs there's a place where a family would live. Why were they not with a family?
Okay, it wasn't their home. They came all the way from Galilee, from Nazareth to Bethlehem, you know, over 75 miles walk. And when they get there, they need to find a place, okay? There was something that was called census or census when they would count the people, and that's why they had to come back to Bethlehem. Now, if everything is full, we don't know if it was an inn like a motel that it says, or it was just a guest room, you know, that inn, so-called kataluma, the word that is used in the Greek word. It's a kind of a guest house, so they come there, it's full. Maybe
Shout
there
out to
are other
Mary.
people that already came to stay there, and they are the last ones, so okay, where would we go? And also, she's pregnant. You know, you want a quiet place, warm spot.
And then she starts to like go into labor.
Right.
So maybe being with the animals is warm, safe, and private.
We wouldn't necessarily plan, you know, the birth of our Lord in such a spot, okay? The manger is here somewhere again. It gives us the understanding that there are animals around him. We don't know how many, but there were animals.
I think so many people around the world are just so familiar with that nativity scene that many of us in Christian countries grow up with, you know, of the nativity and the angel and the baby Jesus in a manger. But even though I kind of knew it wasn't going to ever be like that. I think I'm surprised at how rough it was, how kind of stinking and bottom of the pile and desperate a situation this was. He was saying it was probably in a cave, you know, where
That's hardcore.
half of it is where they sleep and the other half all the animals corralled in. It's going to be stinking. It's going to be about as rough a place as it's possible to be born. Who were the people that visited him?
That's
Okay,
crazy.
so we have the
Very
shepherds. They're
humbling.
the first ones that are coming to visit Jesus. On the same night that he was born, the shepherds were outside Bethlehem, okay? They were shepherding their animals outside. Normally, the shepherds are not at the circle inside the city because they are farmers. You don't want shepherds to cross your field. They would destroy it. So they always had to keep a certain distance outside the city or village.
So they must have been kind of half excited to come in, but also a little apprehensive.
They were terrified to see an angel at night. You know, they are there, it's dark and everything in the
I'd
mountains.
love to see an
Suddenly,
angel.
An angel, and then they were surrounded by angels from all over. Whoa. And then go to Bethlehem. You know, the Lord, the Christ was born. And they go there immediately.
And what do you think they expected to see? I mean, bear in mind, you say there's like angels all around them.
Again, no one, if you think about shepherds, who would think that the angels will go first of all to tell to shepherds that the Christ was born?
So what do you think they expected to see?
I guess a royal king, you know, a nice couple that is dressed very, very nicely with some bodyguards around, a nice vehicle or nice donkey, you know, parking outside, whatever it was there. This is what they would expect. If God is sending angels to tell them about the birth of Christ, you wouldn't expect a couple that sits there somewhere with animals and manger.
So what was the reality? I mean, here, there is a strong smell here.
Think about an awkward scene. Again, if your wife, you know, is there, she just had her baby, and suddenly a group of shepherds or bus drivers or taxi drivers, they are suddenly entering, breaking into the door and say, "Hello, we came to see the baby." How would she feel? How would you feel as her husband? But from the first moment of Jesus' birth, he was reachable in a sense to the common low-level people.
That's a humble, humble beginning. You know, if it's like meant to be.
Yeah, and they continue to talk about how humbling Jesus came and how the creator of the universe humbled himself for us. That was episode 1 of Bear Grylls visiting the land of Jesus, and he's gonna do more outdoor activities. This one he skydived into the Holy Land, but I think he does more. I think he like does some rappelling and stuff like that. So we'll check out episode 2 on the next video. Hope you enjoyed it. And let me just get into the Bible really quick here. I like reading a chapter every day. So if you want to follow along, I'm on John chapter 13. Before the Passover celebration, Jesus knew that his hour had come to leave this world and return to his Father. He had loved his disciples during his ministry on earth, and now he loved them to the very end. It was time for supper, and the devil had already prompted Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had given him authority over everything, and that he had come from God and would return to God. So he got up from the table, took off his robe, wrapped a towel around his waist, and poured water into a basin. Then he began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel he had around him. When Jesus came to Simon Peter, Peter said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You don't understand now what I am doing, but someday you will." "No," Peter protested, "you will never ever wash my feet." Jesus replied, "Unless I wash you, you won't belong to me." Simon Peter exclaimed, Then wash my hands and my head as well, Lord, not just my feet. Jesus replied, a person who has been bathed all over does not need to wash, except for the feet, to be entirely clean. And you disciples are clean, but not all of you, for Jesus knew who would betray him. That is what he meant when he said, not all of you are clean. After washing their feet, he put on his robe again and sat down and asked, do you understand what I was doing? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, because that's what I am. And since I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash each other's feet. I have given you an example to follow. Do as I have done to you. I tell you the truth. Slaves are not greater than their master, nor is their messenger more important than the one who sends the message. Now that you know these things, God will bless you for doing them. So Jesus is saying that he is just a messenger for God. And the message that he's sending. Wait. I tell you the truth, slaves are not a messenger, nor is the messenger more important than the one who sends the message. Wait, no, he's not saying that. You have do as I have done to you. I tell you the truth. Do as I have done to you. Tell you just slaves are not greater than the messenger. Now that you know these things, God will bless you for doing them. Okay, so Jesus is setting the example for the disciples here, saying that as messengers for God and for Jesus, to not think of themselves more important than everyone else, to be humble, and to wash each other's feet. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now I can see how people would try to take this out of context and try to say like, oh yeah, Jesus, something about Jesus just being a messenger of God. But that's why you have to read the whole passage, because Jesus is telling the disciples, I'm teaching you to be humble and to wash each other's feet, just like I washed your feet. So amen. And he says in the end, now that you know these things, God will bless you for doing them. So it shows here that God does bless people for humbling themselves and for helping each other out. That's actually encouraging. That's really nice. That's more of a reason why you should help each other out. It says that God will bless you. Jesus predicts his betrayal. I'm not saying these things to all of you. I know the ones I have chosen, but this fulfills the scripture that says, the one who eats my food has turned against me. I tell you this beforehand, so that when it happens, you will believe that I am the Messiah. I tell you the truth. Anyone who welcomes my messenger is welcoming me. Anyone who is welcoming me is welcoming the Father who sent me. So like, for example, I am the messenger, me, David Isaac, I'm the messenger of Jesus. And if you welcome me, you're welcoming Jesus and you're welcoming the Father. And that goes for anybody who is spreading the message of Jesus, because we're messengers of Christ. Now Jesus was deeply troubled, and he exclaimed, I tell you the truth, one of you will betray me. The disciples looked at each other, wondering whom he could mean. The disciple Jesus loved, he was sitting next to Jesus at the table. Simon Peter mentioned to him to ask, who is he talking about? So that disciple leaned over to Jesus and asked, Lord, who is it? Jesus responded, it is the one who I am giving the bread I dip in this bowl. And when he had dipped it, he gave it to Judas, son of Simon Iscariot. When Jesus had eaten the bread, Satan entered into him. When Judas had eaten the bread, Satan entered to him. Dang! Satan entered Judas. Then Jesus told him, hurry and do what you're going to do. None of the others were at the table. None of the others at the table knew what Jesus meant. Since Judas was their treasurer, some thought Jesus was telling him to go and pay for the food or to give some money to the poor. So Judas left at once, going out into the night. As soon as Judas left the room, Jesus said, the time has come for the Son of Man to enter into his glory, and God will be glorified because of him. And since God receives glory because of the Son, he will give his own glory to the Son, and he will do so at once. Dear children, I will be with you only a little longer, and as I told the Jewish leaders, you will search for me, but you can't come where I am going. So now I am giving you a new commandment. Love each other, just as I have loved you. You should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. Simon Peter asked, Lord, where are you going? And Jesus replied, You can't go with me now, but you will follow me later. But why can't I come now, Lord? He asked. I am ready to die for you. Jesus answered, Die for me? I tell you the truth, Peter. Before the rooster crows tomorrow morning, you will deny me 3 times that you even know me. Boom. Dang, Jesus was awesome. He still is awesome. He's going to come back again. All right, that's enough for today. I hope you watched the whole thing. We'll see. I need to get my stuff out there. If you made it to the end, subscribe, share it, leave a comment, like, so the algorithm can help push this podcast to more people. Yeah, I'd really appreciate it. God bless y'all. Have a great day in Jesus' name.